All right. So what I wanted to do, just kind of reiterate what we already talked about. What I wanted to do is talk in detail on the kind of the process that we go through from an interview. Really, two main interviews that I think you guys should at least be comfortable with. The majority of them initially will be all introductory interviews that are probably only 15 minutes. They might go a little longer, but they should be no more than about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And they know that when you schedule them properly in Visita, they're going to know that it's only designated for 15 minutes. It's very clear on that. So what I thought would be helpful is if we go through kind of the way I do them, and maybe we can role play. Anyone that wants to role play with me, you're welcome to. If you want to be the interviewee, and I will be the interviewer. And we can kind of go through kind of what I like to talk about. You'll hear a lot of times, and again, this is the way I do things. I want to also go through the way Chris does them. They're going to be a little bit different, and then you can kind of add your own flavor to it. The key being that you really want to make sure that you get some of the core things that we talk about, and then just kind of make it your own. I would say overarching, what I have found to have the most success in these, overarching conversation needs to stem around culture. There is so many people that absolutely love talking about the importance of our culture, what we stand for, what we're about, how we help facilitate growth inside of our agency. That's what a lot of people are missing. And you'll find that a lot of these people will already have interviews with other financial firms or other agencies, and they'll resonate with the conversation around it being kind of a family environment, the culture of success. We help people, downline, cross-line, doesn't matter.
Yeah. And a lot of people have actually even been, contracted by Symmetry. In fact, some of the most excited people that I have at the end of the interviews are people who have spoken with Symmetry once before, and it was, not to single one firm out, but it's a 20-minute conversation. Okay, I'll send you your contracting paperwork.
Yeah.
And getting away from that really does a lot for a professionalization of what it is that we do.
Yeah, for sure. So who wants to, I guess, Omar or Elazar, who wants to be the other side of my interview, and then the other person can be the other side of Chris's interview, and we can kind of go through the introductory. Again, this is a short conversation, but the introductory, and we'll make it a lot shorter on this one because I just want to cover some of the basics. But who wants to be the person that I'm going to interview?
Omar's the only one there, so it's got to be
I can do it.
You do? Okay, cool. All right, so you can make up any kind of, well, you've kind of been on this side of things, haven't you? Because you were recruited in through Chris. Were we doing these types of interviews before, Chris?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was right at the start of it.
Okay. All right. So I guess ring. I guess you're going to pick up the phone.
Hello.
Hey, Omar. This is Mike Colburn with Colburn Financial. How are you?
Phenomenal. And you?
I am blessed, my friend. I am blessed. Hey, I've got down about 15, 20 minutes to have a conversation about the opportunity here with Colburn Financial. How much time do you have this morning?
Well, I blocked you out for the 15, 20 minutes. I can go up to 30 minutes. I blocked you out because that's what the schedule said.
Perfect. I'm assuming that you had a chance to watch the corporate overview that was sent along with.
I did.
Okay, good. So here's kind of what I want to do in this short amount of time is I want to get a good picture of kind of what you're looking for, what intrigued you about the opportunity. It's more important to me that I understand really what you're wanting and what would make you happy with making a career change or kind of partnering up with another firm or another company. So I want to go through some of that, have a conversation through that, and hear you out on those items. And then I'll talk in detail about kind of how we got to where we're at through Colburn Financial, my background, where we're at, our growth, things of that nature. And the most important thing for me, Omar, today is I really want to make sure that we understand kind of the culture that you're looking for, making sure it resonates with the culture that we have. That's probably the most important thing for me is the culture. Because I mean, I don't know how long you've been looking for something, but I have learned that people resonate with the culture a whole lot more than necessarily the income, the pay, all that stuff is important, but culture is a big deal to us. So we'll talk through some of that. So tell me a little bit about what are you looking for? What intrigued you about the opportunity as far as that's concerned?
Well, let me tell you a bit about me. I come from the restaurant business, hospitality. Been doing it about 20 years. Work schedule, 70, 75 hours a week. Married to the restaurant business, married to my work. I'm looking to divorce my work and be married to my family, to what I love the most. What intrigued me about Symmetry Financial, I can't really say what it did. I kind of just put my resume out there. I was contacted. I watched the video and it's very enticing. So I would have to understand what Symmetry Financial is all about other than the video. I understand it's a financial company. I understand it's insurance. I don't have an insurance license, so we would have to get started right there. I don't understand this. Completely new for me.
Perfect. So I heard a couple things that kind of piqued my interest. I resonate a lot with the fact that you said be married to your family. I've got twin girls. They're 7 years old. I've got a similar situation in my past experience where I spent a lot of time, I think, married to the wrong career, even though it was in a similar industry, where I spent a lot of time away from the people that I care about. So I'm excited to kind of talk through how that's changed in my life, and maybe that's going to resonate with you, maybe not. The interesting part about what we do is we're not looking to partner up with everyone. We're looking to partner up with the right people. That's the reason why we've got such tremendous growth in this business. In fact, let me just kind of tell you a little bit about my background. I graduated from college with a degree in mathematics. I'm 35, so it's been a few years ago. Degree in mathematics, minor in piano performance. Emphasis was in education. So I spent a couple of years doing teaching. I taught some private high school math. I started my own business doing some private music lessons. I had my own music studio, which kind of intrigued me with the whole entrepreneurial side. Ended up trying to get back. That was back when I was in Georgia, actually Atlanta, Georgia area. And then we moved up to East Tennessee. And that's where I decided permanently I would never go back into teaching. Teaching is a tough career, and it's definitely overworked, underpaid, and underappreciated, the people that do that work. So anyways, I from there I transitioned to working with Northwestern Mutual. Are you familiar with Northwestern Mutual?
I am not.
Okay. They're probably one of the oldest standing, initially started out as insurance company, but now they're pretty much more branded as a financial planning or a wealth management firm. So was there for almost 4 years, got a lot of my training and education through that. They do a really good job of pumping people's ego up, and they're, I got all the accolades and all the prizes and all the stuff that they do year in and year out. And, was trained by one of the top guys, Mike Marinick, out of Nashville, on a wealth management standpoint. He manages about $350 million of his private clients' assets. Anyways, decided, and this is probably going to resonate a little bit with you, but even though the career opportunity was great, the culture didn't resonate with me. It was something that didn't mix with me. And so it was kind of an ugly separation. we decided to part ways, and that's where Colburn Financial kind of came to fruition. So we started about 3 years ago. I transitioned out, became totally independent. First year, partnered up with Symmetry Financial Group on the IMO insurance side. First year, personal production did about $450,000 first year as an independent on my own. It was just me, and then we moved from Tennessee out to Arkansas, where we're at now. And really, that's where I met my CSO currently, Chris Clark, who's actually came from Northwestern Mutual as well. So similar situation that he had with me. You know, we resonated from that standpoint. And we went from about 450 of production to, we had a couple of agents, moved into about 650, 660 of production last year. And this year, and this has been the amazing growth, and this isn't anything to do with necessarily me or Chris or any one particular person. It's because we as a culture have partnered up with the right people as a team, as an agency. We're probably going to hit about 2 million or over 2 million of production this year, third year in. So we went first year, 450, 650. Now we're going to probably push 2 million of production third year. So phenomenal growth, and it has nothing to do with the people. It has to do everything with the system. The system is very replicatable. It's simple, especially for people that don't know a lot about insurance. They've got a clean slate, just like yourself. It's a phenomenal platform for just that. So I don't know. Did I guess I'll kind of pause there. Did any of that resonate with you? I wanted to kind of bring you up to speed, kind of how we got here. What of that resonated with you, and what questions do you have?
Well, it resonates to me in the fact that you said you didn't like your previous job. I love my previous job. I really do enjoy it. I love what I do. I just want to get away from the long hours.
How many hours are you working?
70, 75 hours a week. Holy
cow, man. 70 to 75 hours. Man, it's been a while since I put that time into my work week. I'm 3 years in. I'm at a different stage. I don't know what your timeline is as far as partnering up with a new company. I mean, what's your timeline? I mean, what ideally, what are you looking over the next 5-10 years? Tell me about your timeline, future projection, things of that nature.
I don't have any future projections. I'm looking to see, working for a company for the hospitality industry, for the restaurant business, you kind of get stuck there. You kind of think that's all there is out there. So
That's fair.
For me to say this is my timeline, this is what I'm expecting, I really can't say that. This is where I'm at. I want to make a career change for my family. But obviously, the production has to be there, not in the sense of selling it, understands the sales, but the money coming in to support the family has to be there.
Sure. No, that makes complete sense. All right. So I'm going to stop here because here's what we would do. We would prolong the conversation for the next probably 5-8 minutes, and talk through, big pain points for him, things that, his family's a big deal. I can already hear that. His hours of work are a big deal. So I'm going to start talking about the difference. I'm going to start talking about my own family and how much time I get to spend with them. I'm going to start talking about the hours that I first year put in. Again, you don't want to sugarcoat this stuff, okay? Now I probably work 30 hours, if that, okay? But that isn't what I'm going to set up as an expectation coming in, okay? So you're used to working 70, 75 hours. Honestly, if you want to put the same amount of time in, you can, but no one's going to mandate that you do it. Now, here's what we expect full-time agents to do. Full-time agents are working 40, 45 hours a week, okay? So when I say full-time, And this is where I start to describe, when I say full-time, I'm talking about an agent that's probably going to be submitting minimum of $20,000 of annual premium volume a month. That's $5,000 a week, full-time. They're working 40 to 45 hours a week. They're in the field at least 2 days a week. So I'm going to explain some of this. I'm not going to get into the inner workings of it. That's the second meeting, okay? But I'm going to give them just enough information to make it intriguing. I'm going to make sure that I resonate with their personality, their character. If there's any big red flags, anything at all to me, I'm going to step back and I'm going to address those. Here's where I see a potential concern. You know, if I had a guy yesterday that said several times in the interview, about having a salary plus commission. And I stopped near the end and I said, his name was Michael. And I said, Michael, I'm just going to be blunt with you, okay? Because of our ability to have an equity ownership from day one, because of the fact that this is a scratch agency model, you're building it from day one, you get ownership day one. Because of that, we don't ever give a salary to someone. And I just want to be very forward with that, and I want to be very clear so that there's not any false assumptions that you're going to get partnered up here and you're going to be making $100,000 with a bonus and all this stuff. And he was very appreciative that I was up front with that, and he's still pursuing the conversation because now he understands. So I always try to address anything that comes up in that initial meeting, 10, 15-minute introductory meeting. I want to address any of those so that I'm not leading them on. Again, the whole idea of the introductory interview is to weed out people that don't deserve 40 minutes of your time. That's the whole idea, okay? So don't think that you have to, everyone that the introductory interview is going to always flow over to another interview. Don't do that. You want to play hardball with them and really make sure that the culture resonates. You really want to make sure that you feel good about working with them, because here's the reality. They come on board and you're their mentor. You better resonate with them, because otherwise it's going to be a little bit of it's going to be a little bit of a hell on earth managing someone that you don't resonate with. Okay. So that's kind of that's the way I do it. That's the style that I go through. Okay. That's for the most part. And then I'm going to, at the very end, I'm going to tell them, you know, hey, I'm going to send you a follow-up email. In the email, you just schedule the next meeting. Make sure that it's a full 40-minute Colburn Financial interview. I kind of reiterate that to make sure that they understand. And that's it. That's pretty much all I do, okay? Any questions on that? It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty much just a conversation is all it is.
Yeah. One of the things that I think that you do that I do as well is you would almost rather weed someone out on the front end than spend unnecessary time with them trying to convince them to work for you. Like,
yes,
really, you're in the position of power. It's not that you need to hang it over their head, but in the end, you want someone who is appreciative of the opportunity, who sees the forest from the trees, who understands that leveraging a system while maintaining a high culture value is really what you want. So if you get some guy who's holding you at an arm's reach from the start, he's never going to get any better.
That's right. That's right. They're never going to. That's good. All right. So I want to do the flip now. I want you guys to kind of hear Chris's role playing for, again, this is just the introductory interview. And then when we get done through with that, I want to kind of end with, I think for now, all I want to do is the introductory interview, and then we'll do another one where we're talking about the details of the actual interview. At the end of this, I do want to go through some updated details on kind of when all this is going to start, timeline for getting everything set up, items that I do or don't have from some of you, which most of you guys have got me everything I need. There's just one other tweak I want to talk about on that, but I want to go into Chris, fire away on your introductory interview. I don't know who you want to interview.
Yeah, I mean, whoever wants to do it, I don't want Omar to have to do it again.
Yeah, that wouldn't be so fun. So
I know Britt and Ellis are there. Shep, can you talk, or are you just listening?
Yeah, I mean, I can talk. It's no problem.
You sure?
Sure.
Okay. Oh, I already interviewed you, so this is going to be just play along.
I think you should actually interview Brittany.
No, it'd be the most long-winded.
Go ahead, man.
Let's just hop into it. Okay, so ring.
Hello.
Hey, Chef. It's Christopher Clark of Colburn Financial. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Chris?
Good, man. I'm great. Do you still have time? Is this still a good scheduled time for you?
Yeah, I'm good to go. Let's do this.
Okay. Well, I wanted to hop straight into this, and so guys, I'm going to pace around because I literally can't do this sitting down. So I wanted to hop straight into this and essentially explain why we do a 15-minute introductory interview. And the reality of the situation is that we are so actively involved in the mentorship and the growth and the leadership development for the people that work for us that I would rather cut out 15 minutes on the front end, maybe bruise someone's ego, but know that this person is going to be a good member of the team rather than carve out an hour and know 5 minutes into it that this person is a jerk and not someone that I could stand to deal with. So does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, for sure. So let me kind of zoom out and explain who we are and what it is that we do and how we've got to the position that we have. And that is that, Colburn Financial initially started as more of a boutique planning and advisory firm. Actually, Mike and I both came from Northwestern Mutual, had some good experiences there, saw some good things that we liked, but also realized that there are some things that don't, work out. It's a model and a system that is contingent upon, frankly, only being able to service around the top 15 to 20% of income earners in the United States if you were to, make a good income on your own. Conversely, the other side of the spectrum, there are brokerage houses, and it's just quote, 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 and no client experience. So what Mike and I are trying to do is really keep the good out of both ends of the spectrum. High volume, a brokerage ability, just a really broad sales pipeline, while still maintaining the ability to have a client experience, have the professionalism, have the facilitative ability to do larger planning. So we can get into that down the road, but on the front end, you need to realize that our growth metrics are fine. In fact, we are actually throttling our growth a little bit because the difference in us going from a $5 million company to a $50 million company is going to be wholly contingent upon bringing in the right people that can share a vision of high culture, high value, servant-based sales, et cetera, et cetera. So I kind of want to zoom out and really just hear from you. What is it that you're looking for out of life, out of a career? And then what about us was appealing to you in regards to that?
Well, what I'm looking for out of life, honestly, I've been in the same job now for a while. I've done kind of the 9 to 5 management position for a long time, and to be honest with you, I'm just tired of answering for other people's mistakes.
Sure.
And dealing on a management basis with people, young kids that work for me, and then they screw up, and then I have to answer for that. But
right.
I'm tired of that, and I'm looking for something that's more lucrative, to be honest. Something I can build. Just start small and build into something huge and amazing. That's pretty simply what I'm looking for.
Yeah, no, that's great. And so let's address a couple of those. This is a unique position because we can get you away from that 9 to 5. You'll have a lot of flexibility in your schedule. 9 to 5 will be, roughly when you will work, but in all reality, there will be some variation in the day. But I think a big thing for you that I heard that will be released is, no, you won't be responsible for that, that retail, mindset employee who, they don't have any sort of investment in it. They just, they're just there. And if they screw something up, it's not a big deal. And it's your fault. it's a professional career. But the other thing is, yes, it's incredibly lucrative, and yes, you actually do get to build something where it actually has an asset and a value. And I caution people to not get overwhelmed by the dollar numbers because you can burn out. But if you're able to keep the lucrative side in mind while also having the gratitude side, where you are grateful for this career and the ability to provide a knowable, doable social good, this is really as good as a career can get. You're not selling widgets. You're not selling Cheetos. You're not doing something bad. You're actually doing something good for people, and the impact that you can have across several generations of just one family is great perspective. For me, one of the most important things that because I work very actively with the people that are on my team, and my team has good success, I'd say one of the most important things is that a person is coachable. I don't ask a person if they're coachable because I think people are either deluded or they tell me what they think I want to hear, or but I don't even ask that question anymore. I just realize that's very important. And then the person is a person that takes initiative, where they will, if they have a question, they'll try and figure it out on their own, at least for a couple minutes before they come inundate me with a question. And then, a person who is willing to grow. That is one of the other things that we do that I think is very unique about our culture. We say it a lot. It sounds cheesy, but I'm fine with it. We are a personal development, a lifestyle enhancement, and a leadership development company. We simply service that through financial service products. So if you're the type of person who enjoys reading, if you're the type of person who enjoys working on yourself and getting better every day, maybe just 1% better every day, you're going to love this. And really, our chief strategic initiative is to make you a better version of yourself.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me after that?
Well, no, it all sounds really good, but I'm looking at I guess how do I even get started on this?
Yeah, that's great. Well, again, this is a formalization of a process. So we are different. I don't know if you've ever heard of Symmetry Financial Group, but they're the fastest growing IMO in the country. I think that's one of our big value propositions that we bring, is that it's a more formalized version of this. Symmetry Financial Group, frankly, is great, and they are the best IMO out there. If we thought there was something better, we would be with them. But this is head and shoulders above the competition. With that being said, not everyone has the same experience with Symmetry Financial Group. We don't just do a one interview, send you the contract, let's get going. What we would do is we'd have a second phone call, 30 to 40 minutes long. We'd talk in more depth and more detail, a little bit more granular around the process. I'll actually flip the table around and let you interview me on some things. And then if we need to, we can actually do a third interview after that. I would conference in Mike Colburn or one of the Symmetry partners like Brad Smith or Matt Smith, and we would have another conversation after that. But just in a really quick summary statement, you'd need to get an insurance license. We could get you in a pre-licensing course. If it makes sense to both of us, I'll actually put you into a system where it's completely automated. It's really nice. It's real slick. The course is online, and we'll pick up half the tab just to show you that we have some skin in the game.
I like that. That sounds really good.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. I think that's the best way to do it, to show that we are interested, that we're not the type of company that just throws stuff up against the wall and see whatever sticks. We're very personally invested in you, and it's just clear that we need to have a very fair, open line of communication. So, and being a team member is really important. So, if this makes sense to you, I don't see any reason at this point in time why we couldn't push this to a second interview. What I will do is after we get off this call, I'll actually send you another link, just like you got the last time, where you can schedule a second interview, pick it out of my calendar. It's really slick. It works really well. And we can talk then.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's do that.
Okay, great. Thank you, Shep, for doing that. By the way, I said a person who has good initiative. Shep is probably the most take initiative, easy to manage person that I have. Mike and I were just talking about that the other day. We're like, he's the easiest person to deal with. Like he just kind of takes care of himself. When he has a question, he asks questions that I can usually just answer in a text. So when I was saying that, I was kind of humored because I was like, yeah, that's pretty much you to a T.
I try.
No, that was good. So hopefully, the whole idea of this, we want to make sure that you guys get a good idea of again, that first 10, 20-minute conversation. It's way more about making sure that it's even worth having another conversation. Okay. It's another sieve that we're putting people through to glean out people that are really actually quite excited about the process. Okay. So you'll have to make it your own. I'm going to send this. I'm going to put the audio form of this, probably, at least directly to those that are working on the recruiting system. Is there any questions though? I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Hopefully you guys heard some key things that both Chris and I talked about. We actually didn't, you'll see they're very different. We actually did not plan, and we never have talked about like making sure that our interview processes as far as the 15-minute conversation is the same. I mean, make it your own, but it's important that I would say probably the couple of the most important things to make sure that you talk about in a 15-minute conversation is, number one, they need to understand how Symmetry fits into Colburn Financial. They're going to get really confused when you start talking about Symmetry Financial Group and they go, wait a second, I thought it was Colburn Financial. I get emails from Colburn Financial. Why is this? I don't get it. And then you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. So just make sure in that first meeting that they understand Symmetry Financial Group is the IMO that we use from a brokerage insurance standpoint. They are one of the items that we're partnered with through Colburn Financial, okay? It doesn't matter at that point if all you do is talk about Symmetry Financial Group. That's fine. But they have to know that that's the relationship or there's going to be a disconnect.
Mm-hmm. And it is, frankly, us coming from a position of strength that we have leveraged that relationship. We are not every Symmetry agency. And you guys really need to realize that not every person, in fact, the overwhelming majority, I would say 90% of people that are with Symmetry, if not more, don't have this kind of mentorship, this leadership, this relationship, much less, I mean, this like builder's call where we are, figuring out the software to help you. I think it's basically us and us alone that are doing something like this. So it really is us coming from a position of strength to say we are a financial firm. We leverage a relationship with Symmetry Financial Group simply because their model for your growth, for your equity placement, for you getting to a position of like a vested business interest is the most straightforward. On top of the fact that the lead system is great, the culture value is high, and so we choose to work with you, and that's really important to understand.
Yeah, the other thing, and I'm thinking through some of this. The things that I hear a lot, I hear people on the first call saying, "Yeah, I went and looked at the reviews, and they're phenomenal." So one of the things that you guys might want to think about: people go to LinkedIn, they go to Facebook, they go to Glassdoor. They go to any other rating place that they're going to find, Symmetry. They'll read the articles on the entrepreneur stuff, the Inc. 5000. They look at all that stuff. I would strongly suggest, if you have a LinkedIn profile, to make sure that you put something, Colburn Financial, Symmetry Financial Group, something on there that you're working with so that they don't look up and say, "Oh, well, who is this? This is Bob Joe at the automotive shop. I don't know that I want to do this. So that's one thing to suggest. Most of the links, all of the links for Facebook go to the Facebook page for Colburn Financial through Visita. So they're not going to go directly to your Facebook page, your personal Facebook page. But just something to think about. Everything has to be very, very professionalized. It has to be, keep it very professional in that respect. And then leverage really hard the culture. That's the big thing that I talk about so much is culture. And if someone doesn't resonate with the culture, I do not interview them anymore. It's done. I don't think it's a good fit. Okay. I wish you the best of luck. Hope that you have a great, great life. Adios.
Yeah, I cannot agree more. I mean, so many people don't love their jobs or maybe like their jobs, but are stuck in a position where they can't advance more. So that's what you ask them, what it is that they're looking for. What did they, and you do need to ask them what they liked about their last job, because you want to give them some warm and fuzzies and make them feel good when they talk about themselves, and then ask them what was missing. And in all reality, we can probably find something that does help them. But if a person comes off and it's very appealing when you're first hiring, because you want to just get a person who's going to go produce for you. But if you get a guy and he's like, I just want to go kill it, I just want to make $500,000 a year, and he just has these like initiatives, Frank, from experience, one, he'll never stick. But two, it's not worth the toxicity that you're going to bring in and tank your entire team by dealing with one person who has an attitude problem.
Yep. Very true. We almost didn't hire Shep because of his attitude problem.
Yep, exactly. Got that too.
Just kidding, Shep. So I was just trying to see how your face would react when I said that. So any questions, anything at all that you guys want to bring up so far? I think it's pretty straightforward, and then we'll kind of finish the call with a couple of changes on a couple of things I want to make sure you guys are aware of anyways on the recruiting stuff. Anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to, before we did, I hope people took a couple bullet points on what it is that we talk about. And really, Mike and I do interview differently because there are things to us that are, Mike and I share a lot of conversations about what is important with this, but, I think the overarching bullet points are the same. And I think that if you guys learn to kind of stick to those bullet points and then go from there and talk about your experience or the experience, and if you don't have an experience that you think is enough to hook someone, talk about the experience of someone above you.
Yep. That's good. That's good. All right. So as far as, actually, I'm going to stop the recording. Hold on.